concussion in like the first 5-10 plays
Oh,
of the
yeah.
game.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And Michael Thomas went in.
oh yeah,
On Derek
yeah.
Carr.
Let's take a
Whoa.
moment on that. Do you have Twitter?
Yeah.
Do you see all that, dude?
I mean, I am the Twitter goblin, honestly. It was like the first thing I seen, and I agree. I mean, he had a lot of time, to play that position, so he knows when his quarterbacks are laying people out, and that
was exactly the problem. too.
you can't make that throw. You
No.
can't make that throw.
No.
Espe- I mean, how long has
Safety
Derek-
coming in, cornerback coming this way, ball right here, wham. I mean, yeah, that's a killer throw. That's
It's
killer
the oldest
throw.
one in the book too. So
Mhm. That's just something even in backyard football.
You don't
you don't
do
throw that throw. You just do you want your buddy to have a dislocated shoulder?
Yeah, I
No.
guess you guys are right. But I ain't a Mike Thomas guy, so that was like, oh, Mike Thomas, shut up, bro. You stub your toe, you're out for like seasons on this.
Fair
Like, come on,
point.
man.
I mean,
Fair point.
I was thinking like the same thing. I was like, why is this dude even talking? Like,
Turf toe Thomas. Turf toe Thomas.
Like,
Yeah, you're not wrong in that effect, guys.
I mean, but wide receivers they
Yeah.
need their feet in their hands. So
yeah. Yeah.
well,
right.
I guess it is a
It-
vital phalange for the man.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. But I agree. He definitely doesn't have too much room to talk, but he definitely has played.
He
the
knows
position,
the position, yeah.
I'll tell you
100%.
this, though. Active players on the Saints were also going ham about the game. They were calling themselves out, saying that they would lose to college teams, things of that nature, just absolutely ripping themselves. So the firing of Dennis Allen, which also happened this week, I think was warranted. I don't think that guy had the locker room at all. If your teammates, if your team
Spazzing out like
is
that.
spazzing out like
Yeah,
that
you don't
and
have a
just
locker
going
room.
wild, which I mean,
During a
like
game?
you would never see that on the Steelers because you get cut or traded.
We've seen what happened.
Yeah.
We see what happens.
Yeah.
That
Every time
can't
it
happen. That can't happen. So we're gonna see if there's a turnaround here with the new intermediate coach that they brought in. His name is Rizzy. I only remember that because his name's
Is Rizzy.
Rizzy.
I don't have any stats about him. I don't know much about him. Let's go into the stats on this game real quickly. Derek Carr, like he mentioned, didn't have a terrible day. He was 18 of 31, 236 yards, 1 touchdown. No interceptions in this one. Alvin Kamara was the star of the team. He did not have a touchdown. However, he had 29 carries, 155 yards. He also caught 6 catches for 60 yards, was the leading wide receiver. Fire! I don't think you said he was going to be a player in the last
No, I
podcast.
didn't say that.
I think a little Looby Dooby might have been like, I'm a guy.
No,
I've never been a Kamara hater.
I was about to say, I truly hope not.
Yeah, I've
because
never been a
he's
Kamara.
literally
I've never
lightning
been a
in a
Kamara
bottle.
hater.
He's
The
like,
thing. He's it.
I mean, you
I
guys
like
don't know,
Kamara
but
even.
no, seriously, the Saints are my second favorite team.
Saints
I
are
gotta
good.
keep it. I gotta. And going back to your earlier point, like the coaching it looks like a different Saints team this year. I mean, the record tells a lot, but
Yeah.
just
They got off
on
to
the
a hot
field,
start too.
yeah, right. You know,
2-0 to start. Did I one on
And they routed someone, too.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
were- the
what
Cowboys.
was
The
yeah,
Cowboys.
the
The
Cowboys.
Cowboys,
It was
yeah.
like 41
Yeah.
to.
Yeah,
They
it's
destroyed
something
them.
Ridiculous.
On his point, there was a game that I had watched. It was when they were 2-1. There is 4 seconds left at half. They go down the field. They throw the ball. They get the first down. They call a timeout. After the timeout, they need the ball.
Yep.
What kind of decision is that?
What are we doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing? Other people who had days on the Saints, though, Taysom Hill, first game back, had a touchdown. He is Mr. Everything. He had a throw, wasn't complete. He had 5 rushes. He had 4 catches.
He had a rushing touchdown.
I played him in
Yeah.
fantasy as a tight end, and he filled in just nicely for me for
I
Kittle's
thought you were
library.
cheating maybe for a moment.
No,
But
that's
then
not.
I remember the
The
rules.
Super League has
I-
no rules.
Oh, you're right.
We do.
I have 3 quarterbacks on my team in Super
Yeah.
League.
yeah, you could have whatever you want. We do it's called Super League, which normally a fantasy football includes like you pick one defense. Ours, you pick your whole defensive front.
Yeah.
It's
You
brutal.
pick your DNs, you pick your
It's pretty sick.
DTs, you pick your linebackers,
That's
your edge.
fun.
It's
pretty
fire.
sick.
It's so much
Wait,
fun.
linebackers and edges?
The whole 9
Yeah.
yards, dude. Everything.
y'all might have
Everything
to
but
invite
punter
me.
because it's not there.
Okay, y'all might have to invite me on the next
Yes,
one.
it is
Yeah, oh,
super
yeah.
That's
fun.
fun.
It's dope.
That's fun.
It is
That's
fun.
like
Yeah,
that's like old school fantasy
It's
football.
it's like it's very in depth. You got to be paying attention to a lot of things in a football game, and a game could change on a interception return for a touchdown.
Yup.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I like that.
Panther side, who won this game by 1 point, guys. Bryce Young got the start. not the greatest, but he did pull out a win. It looks like they're probably going to continue going with him.
Got to at
You
this
have
point.
to.
You
I
have
think,
to.
right?
You spent a first-round pick on him.
Do you want
I
Andy
love-
Dalton?
I love Bryce, but I feel like he's going to end up being another Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Maybe I could see
I feel
that.
you. I'm leaning that way,
He's
too.
not. He's just not getting the adequate coaching that he needs to really reach. Not even his ceiling, because we haven't even really seen his floor
Yeah.
yet.
I don't. I was gonna
I
say.
mean, 171.
Yeah.
Like that's that.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen any of his intangibles be highlighted for me to say,
And
hey, this is what he does good, or he does good at this. Like, there's nothing I can say yet because it's like the situation is very not good.
It's a
Yeah.
big Zach Wilson-ish.
Yeah,
Mhm.
100%.
But the
I agree
Panthers
with
are a
that.
dumpster fire of an organization.
They
too.
literally
So, like,
just
Yeah,
traded
they are.
away his number one target to
Yeah.
the Raven. I mean,
Well, I
it's-
know. I don't know. Well, they traded two guys actually, and I thank you for reminding me of that. The Panthers have traded away Jonathan Mingo, who was, I believe, their first-round pick last year. He might have
Yep.
been an early second
No,
round pick.
I'm almost certain he
second-round pick. It
was he.
second round
He was
Okay.
second round.
Yeah.
Okay, so second round
Still
pick
though,
last year. They got
you
rid
know.
of him. He's with the Dallas Cowboys now.
Yeah,
They're embracing the tank.
They're embracing the tank, which I,
I
mean,
feel like it.
Might as well.
they should.
When
They
you're in that position, you have to embrace the tank.
A couple things I do want to mention. Chuba Hubbard had a decent day, 2 touchdowns. He's the reason why they won this football game. 15 rushes for 72 yards. Xavier Legette also had a receiving touchdown. He only had 33 yards. The big receiver on the day for the Panthers was Jatavian Sanders.
I'll be honest, I have no idea who that
No
is.
idea.
You, you do, and you want to know why you know
Why?
who he is? Because one day he caught a ball and you said,
Oh, yeah,
is
you're
that
right.
Miles Sanders'
Is that
brother?"
Miles Sanders' brother? I did say
All
that.
right, let's move on to the next game.
Yeah,
on
Miles
that note.
Sanders, the Pittsburgh kid.
Next game I wanted to cover was the rivalry game between the Washington Commanders. This game was Washington Commanders and the New York Giants. The New York Giants were the hosts in this game. Crazy first half stat I wanted to bring up. At halftime, Daniel Jones, 1 passing touchdown, 0 passing yards.
How?
Oh yeah.
4 for 4 too.
Yeah, so this is what he did. He threw a pass for 0 yards, a pass for 0 yards, a pass for 6 yards and a touchdown, and then a pass for -6 yards. And that was his whole first half.
Jesus.
Yes. Let's take a look at the.
I saw that stat on Twitter, and it
You're like, what?
Yeah.
there was literally nothing more Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just
it's
saying,
Like
that's the
that,
most
I'm
Daniel
like,
Jones
wow,
stat
that
out.
that was the truest Daniel Jones that I've ever seen.
Let's take a look at
But he
what
ended pretty
did.
decently.
He did decent the rest of the game. So second half, which is where he got all of his stats from, he ended up 20 of 26, which isn't bad for accuracy. He was 174 yards all in the second half, 2 touchdowns, 1 in the second half, no interceptions. He did have another fumble, another one.
Yeah.
I mean, he's Butterfingers, Danny.
yeah.
He's butt. To begin with. I don't think Daniel Jones is any good.
No, not at all.
He's a serviceable backup quarterback, but he is not a starter unless he's surrounded by an elite team, which at this time.
I
He's
was
not.
just about to say that. Like, literally, obviously, they have Malik Neighbors, who is,
Great, and Tracy, there is also good. You got to give him his credit. He's been good, but
I
He's
agree,
been a
but
nice little find.
good will not carry Daniel
no,
Jones.
no,
you know, like,
not at all. Good carries. Good goes with Baker Mayfield, who's already really
Yeah.
good, but
I
not.
love that you bring Baker. I love
Baker.
I love
we
Baker,
love
too.
Baker.
We love
we
Baker.
We're
love
big Baker.
Baker.
Pro
I'm a
Baker
big
podcast
fan.
here.
We love Baker
love
over
Baker
here.
here.
So rushing yards for Tracy. He had 66 yards rushing. Daniel Jones also had legs in this game. 7 rushes, 54 yards, and a touchdown. Devin Singletary. See you later, dude. It doesn't look like
taking
you're
a
Yeah,
apart.
backseat.
it's Tyrone Tracy's town.
It's Tyrone
I
Tracy.
agree.
Yeah, we gotta say though, it's time probably to drop Singletary.
Unless you have Tracy
Unless
and
you
you
have
want to
Tracy.
hold them. Like, I have them both, and I'm just holding. Like, what if Tracy gets hurt? Now I have Singletary.
I was just about to
my
say
roster's, like, that spot, there's no one on waiver wire who I'd rather have than Singletary. So
not a lot
Yeah.
of players.
I'll just
right
keep
now.
him. No big deal.
Yeah,
I ain't
yeah,
playing
no,
I
I
was
with
gonna
would.
ask like if there's anybody even out there right
There's
now.
one
that-
guy. There's one guy I'm gonna bring up here in a little bit, and he is up in the news. He's been in news alerts here today, so I'll bring him up later. That's a
Oh,
little,
I may know
I think
who
a
it
little
is.
hint for
I'm
you.
almost
Khalil
certain I
Herbert?
know who you're
Yeah, it is
talking
Khalil.
about. Yeah.
Thanks for ruining that for me, Lou Bertha. All right.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
don't
was
forget
just
we still
guessing.
have another one too because CMC's coming back.
That is
Yeah.
very true. Man, all the spoilers early here today in the show. I'm just
But
kidding.
the conversation will be lively.
Oh, the
around
conversation today
Yeah.
is going to be something else. Let's take a look at the Commanders side. First time time, they have been 7-2. I believe it's since 1997. Might be off
Something
by a year or
ridiculous.
two, but they are off to their best start in a long time, is what I was trying to emphasize there. Jaden Daniels, he has had that rib injury. He seems to be getting better. He had 22 attempts, 15 completions, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. When it comes to rushing, he also did that 8 times for 35 yards. We had talked, me and Lou, we did our live Q&A after the show, and we told everybody, hey, 11:30 in the morning, we need you to make sure that Brian Robinson is out, because if he is, you better not have him in your lineup. And you better have a backup plan. And we talked with those guys about what the backup plan should be, and it happened. He didn't play.
Yeah.
Yep.
Last second, he got called out. Austin Eckler, 11 rushes, 42 yards, and a touchdown. They also used Chris Rodriguez, somebody from last year who got a lot of touches. He had 11 carries, 52 yards. Pretty serviceable day for both of those gentlemen. When it comes to receiving, weird names on the board, and one of them, Noah Brown, is the big hero from last week who caught the Hail Mary. He had 5 catches for 60 yards in this game. My guy with the best name in the NFL, Olamide Zacchaeus, he had 2 catches for 48 yards. Also Eckler, 3 catches for 41 on screenplays.
Wow, Austin Eckler had
himself a day,
Had
man.
himself kind of a day. I'm a big
he hates
Austin.
Eckler.
I hate Austin.
He thinks he's
Eckler.
glass.
I think he's like the most overrated guy out. Because he's
that's
always hurt.
insane.
Man's always hurt.
But
Availability
that's all
is
you
the
can
most
say is look
important
at him and
stat.
just go, but.
He is
went-
good. Like this is
No,
like a
no,
vintage
you're-
Austin
I mean,
Eckler day. I'll give you that.
I will.
Like,
I will definitely concede that if he has any true downfall, it is that he's just not on the field enough.
Yeah.
But that's
It's-
why
it's
I
from the
mean
waist
that
down.
was yeah.
The
That's
waist
that's
down
why
is
it was a
his
good
big
call.
call.
I'm
that
giving
you-
him his flowers today. He had himself a game.
He did, and that's the thing. He has the propensity to go off like that, and
I like
that's
these
why
big
he got
words.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, you are right.
When he goes,
That's why we brought you on. 'Cause
He
you
just
have the
only
big
plays
words.
a
We
little.
don't know. We use them incorrectly, too.
I love you guys, man.
Scary Terry, both of his touchdowns were kind of wild. I played against Scary Terry in fantasy football. I had Jaden Daniels, so this kind of like made me not very happy. But Scary Terry, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns, 19 yards, both goal line. Both inside the
Yeah.
10-yard line. Who cares?
Hey,
If you play
touchdown,
Scary Terry,
touchdown.
you got to be happy. He ended up having like 15 points, 16 points, depending on how your league does touchdowns there.
Real quick,
Yeah,
before
what's
we
up?
get off of the Commanders, can we just give them a hand?
Oh,
Honestly,
we love
yeah.
them. We love them.
Like,
yeah.
We give them their flowers all the time.
I wouldn't mind if they win the rest of the
literally,
time except for next week.
exactly, exactly. And I want to say, JD leagues ahead for the
Rookie of the year.
Yeah,
leagues ahead.
he's
Yeah.
a rookie
I
of the
don't-
year.
yeah.
He's also our number 2 for fantasy football quarterback for going out for the rest of the season. He just produces.
Yeah.
Who's
all
number
the
one?
time.
If you don't mind me
Number
asking.
1, Lamar
Lamar
Jackson.
Jackson.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Got to give man his flowers. He's
no,
good.
you know what?
He's good.
I am probably the biggest Ravens hater, simultaneously Lamar lover.
Yeah.
I will never. No, I'm sorry. I will never.
He's Mike
He's
Vick.
too
of,
good, yeah.
He's Mike Vick of now,
Yeah.
and like Mike
I
Vick
love
is like
Mike
my
Vick.
favorite, so I
He's-
can't hate Lamar Jackson.
He is just so.
He's-
I love him.
Yeah,
I
he's
love him,
really
man.
good. Really good. Hey, how about this one? We didn't think it was going to be that close because of how history plays out for these two teams. But the Miami Dolphins and the Bills was really close. Even for
Yep.
it being in Buffalo, Miami Dolphins had it down to the wire. I
Down
think
to the
Bass
wire.
kicked a field goal to win
Yeah,
the game.
yeah. Bass kicked the game-winning
Yeah.
field goal.
Let's take a look at some stats for this. Tua had his, okay, the Russ is knocked off game. You got to do you. And
Yeah,
he did.
25
And he
of
did.
28.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Extremely
Very
accurate.
accurate.
Yes.
That's the 2 I know and love.
That's yes, sir. Yes,
Does he
sir.
know it and love it?
Yeah,
Who knows?
He knows and loves it.
I'm scared for Tua, man, but I'm glad he is able to play. Stat wise, like he said, 25 of 28, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. One thing that we emphasized in his return that was going to mature is the running game. And the running game really reflects in Miami when Tua is in. They are very productive in the run game. On that, Devon Achane, 12 carries. He had 63 yards and a rushing touchdown. He also had 8 catches for 58 yards and another touchdown, which was a wild
Yeah,
catch
that was
touchdown.
a
If
wild-
you've seen it, he
yeah,
was
that was a
juking and
wild one.
jiving through Bills.
He stole it from Raheem Mostert.
Yes. His best friend, Raheem Mostert, did not have the best day for fantasy, and here's why. He had 10 carries, which is great production. You want to see good carries out of your running backs. He had 56 yards, which isn't terrible. No touchdowns.
Yeah, he catches.
He had 2 catches for 32 yards, and he also fumbled the football.
That's the
Yeah, that would.
So that killed it.
Yep,
that
that's the
killed
killer,
it. for
'cause
He
him.
got me
Yeah.
about 8 points.
He had 8 points, but I mean, if you were playing him on a week where the only running backs out were Mason and Najee,
I played him. I felt good about it, but I would have probably behooved me to play someone else.
Yes. Now, he's trying to use bigger words now. That you
see
did
that. I
that. You
see
see
that.
what
It's
happened there? He's jealous. For receiving, we had Tyreek Hill kind of coming alive. He ended up with 12 PPR points, 4 receptions for 80 yards. Jonnu Smith was a decent tight end for this week.
Odell Beckham coming out game.
Odell Beckham.
Oh my God.
Odell Beckham.
Huge.
Well,
3
and
catches.
3
Waddle-
for 15.
Waddle
Huge.
had like 3 catches for like 20-some yards and a touchdown.
And then he lost them all.
Oh
And
my
then
God,
he
it
lost
was
them all.
It was the funniest.
He
I
ran
was
Remind me.
backwards
I was
like
with him.
20-some yards and ended the game with
Oh,
-4 receiving yards.
Yes.
Wait, it ended up being
On
-4.
some
Negative
weird, on
4.
some weird toss play, yeah, and they
Mhm.
counted
Yeah,
it for
yeah.
him losing it. Yeah, so
Yeah. I'm with him the other day. He's like, Waddle finally got a touchdown. He was so hyped.
Yeah.
And then they did the show, they did the fumble play. He's like, I think he just lost me all the points.
I was
And
so mad.
that's
he
how
was,
she
he
goes.
was
I was
swole.
so
He
mad.
was so swole.
That is
Oh,
how
my
the cookie
goodness.
crumbles
I was
sometimes.
heated.
That's absolutely right. That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. At least it wasn't Sam Darnold seeing ghosts.
Yeah,
Josh
I didn't like
Allen.
this cookie.
Well, yeah. That's a bad cookie for you, yeah. Josh Allen, decent
raisin or
day.
some
He
shit.
threw his, I think, second interception of the season here. It was not the best throw on his part. Sorry, I couldn't read that for a second. 39 attempts, 25 completions. He had 235 yards, 3 touchdowns, and like I said, that interception. James Cook, man, not the most productive day.
Average
No,
day.
not
An
at all.
average day on the ground.
He had an average day at best.
Worse than Raheem Mostert.
Okay, fair. Worse than
It was
Raheem
worse than
Mostert.
Raheem
But-
Mostert.
Yeah.
Not really 5 catches for 25 yards.
But he
and
didn't
no
fumble.
fumbles.
Yeah, I
But
guess
that's
the
going to
fumble-
happen
the
when
fumble, I
Allen
guess.
has that day, though.
Yeah.
True. Here's the thing I did want to mention, though, about Allen's day is that Ray Davis, the backup running back, I think is somebody, guys, that we want to start keeping on our bench if he's in your free agency. He only had a big spurt play that was for a massive amount of yards and a touchdown. But if you've watched any Bills football, this kid is good.
They do use him.
He's
They do
good.
use
I was
him.
about to say, yeah, he's definitely a
He's
utility
used.
guy. Yeah.
Not a lot of usage in this game, but made up for it in the usage here. So he had 4 rushes, 20 yards. That's 5 yards a carry, not bad. And then he had 2 catches, guys, for 70 yards and a touchdown. That's where the points came from. But that's still, again, like I said, I would
Points
take
are
that.
points. Yeah, points are
points
points.
are
You
points.
get,
I
yeah,
would
you get them
take
where you
that.
take them.
A guy that you probably wouldn't expect to be scoring touchdowns, Matt Collins, Mr. Doesn't Wear Shoes. He had 5 receptions, 30 yards, and a touchdown. I don't love Matt Collins for anything in fantasy football, guys. Don't pick him up
Yeah,
as a
lucky
flyer.
break.
Yeah.
We were talking Dalton Kincaid a little bit with you,
That's a
Ben.
good one.
You were saying,
Really?
he's just not getting the usage
Yeah.
that you would expect him to
That
get.
is true. That is
For-
Yeah,
true.
and
for
he was
Especially
like,
for his draft
in fantasy
position in
football, he was
fantasy.
drafted like one of
Really
one of the top 5 tight ends.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
like,
mean,
and he's not putting up that kind of production.
Yeah.
no,
for
yeah,
fantasy.
but
Tight
like
ends
you
are
said, his
flipped.
usage is really low.
His usage
year.
is low, and I mean, if you're not big thing about tight ends, guys, if we're going for fantasy football points, is you want them to be used in the red zone, and clearly by this 4 catches, 32 yards, that ain't it. Other than that, lose guy Shakir,
He didn't do bad.
He did
PPR
okay.
league, he got me 8 points.
Yeah.
half PPR, he
Half
got.
PPR.
Yeah, full PPR, he got 11. Still, he's a lower tier option, but he's definitely somebody, if he's in your free agency, I would keep him on your bench.
Yeah, there's no
he's a
reason.
good filler, so I will give him his
I
his
could have
due.
played Jacoby Myers and got 4 more points, but I'm not going to complain about,
Yeah, fair.
the points
Yeah.
I got.
Unless you lost by
Jacoby
4.
Myers
I
is
did
a good
actually
comparison,
lost.
though.
I lost by Jacoby Myers points. So I should have played
sorry for
Jacoby
the clapping,
Myers.
guys, but that is so great. I'm glad
That is-
that's
I did
That
lose
actually
by
is
Jacoby
reason
hilarious.
why that you stuck by
I had about
Khalil.
7-point differential between Jacoby Myers and my lowest player who I could have played instead, and I lost by like 4 points, 3 points. So
That
hate to see it. I'm a big Jacoby Myers guy too, so
Yeah, you
I
are.
really do hate to see it.
Let's take a look at this next game here, guys. I was the only person to take the Chargers in this game.
Yeah, we called this wrong.
Ben and Lou both took the Cleveland Browns, which I kind of could see their point that the Cleveland Browns would have had a chance here, especially on the Jameis Winston fire game that he had the game before. But taking a look at this one in Jameis Winston, not the same production, guys. He played a real defense here. The Chargers, their number one thing that I think that we can all highlight watching football is that their defense is legit. With the other what's the coach's name?
Jim Harbaugh.
The other Harbaugh on that team, he's got that
better
defense.
Harbaugh.
He is the better Harbaugh, and he's got this team.
He's the
tuned
better
up.
Harbaugh right now.
Yeah.
He's
Fair.
the better Harbaugh.
I know the other guy
Right
won
now.
the Super Bowl, but
not even that.
yeah.
Johnny was the man, bro.
Yeah.
Johnny's the man. He was the man.
He was
but
the
right
man,
now
kinda.
he's not.
They faced each other in that Super Bowl.
They
Yeah,
did.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
In the blackout Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
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 I do want to say though, to the point of this game,
yeah.
why would anyone ever think that the Browns would pull anything off?
Ask these boys right
just wait,
here, dude.
Just wait, because regardless of any point that you can make, you have to remember
They don't want to win.
They're the
they
Browns.
they're the Browns. They are cursed. They
Browns
are
be the
hands.
Browns.
They are hands down the most cursed team in the league. So
are.
Yeah,
you can't
I wasn't
bet on the Browns,
respecting
man.
the Chargers. I was like, I think the Browns. I like Jameis, so I was feeling a
I
little
do
bit.
too. I
was
love
feeling the
Jameis.
Jameis
I love
energy,
Jameis.
those vibes.
That's
he's
why I
the
was
vibe.
feeling the Browns.
I feel it.
Like-
I get it. But
You let the
It's-
vibes
Yeah,
get
I let the
too
vibes
much.
get me.
yeah, you let the vibes get you down, man.
Taking a look at the stats for Jameis this week, like I said, the performance was not there in the same way. He had 46 attempts. He only completed 26 of them. That's normal Jameis look. 235 yards. He had 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions.
Normal Jameis look.
Yeah.
Sounds like he might need to get LASIK once again. I don't know. Not
Well,
hating on the
next
man.
week
I
they'll
do
throw
I
love
love
him.
Jameis.
4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
Yeah,
still,
three
but-
interceptions, exactly.
But he'll throw 4 touchdowns. or some
In
shit.
500 yards.
Yeah. Like,
Nick Chubb did not have a very good day. He is still really knocking that rust off. Offensive line not very good for the Cleveland
They have a
Browns
bad
either.
offensive line.
Yeah, I was
So-
about to say I don't think it's really a
It's
Chubb
not what it
Russ
used to
thing.
be.
It's a line thing. It's not what it used to be.
They used to, from all those first round picks, they used to be able to have the best offensive line. And guess what? They spent all those picks on Deshaun Watson, so they didn't get to
Surely
get a new
did.
offensive lineman. No.
Browns gonna Brown.
Bro, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The curse is so real. And
Brown's
that
gonna
man
Brown.
just snaps his Achilles tendon. Just $200
bad, too.
million
That's $200 million Achilles tendon,
Yeah.
dog.
yeah.
just in the toilet.
Yep.
I ripped my
Right where
Achilles
the
once, so
Browns
it's
be.
immediately making me think of it. We worked together when I ripped
Yes,
my
you did.
Achilles. That's
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I
Anyways.
remember you in the boot.
Yeah. Cedric Tillman was the leading wide receiver, the only one who did really anything notable for your fantasy football team. He had 6 catches, 75 yards, and a touchdown. Jerry Jeudy, I guess you could count him in with 7 receptions and 73 yards, no touchdowns, but I guess that's a
You
decent
gotta
fellow.
count him in.
Yeah, I would count him in. I guess I didn't give him credit. Let's take a look at the Chargers side of things here, guys. Justin Herbert, everyone forgets how good he is at football. 27 attempts, 18 completions, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. J.K. Dobbins, though, he ate, dude.
Yeah.
14 carries, 85 yards,
He
2
was the
touchdowns.
killer. He was the dagger for me in Super League.
Yeah, he's what
I
what
think-
took you down.
Yeah.
I think he
man.
might be like my favorite offseason acquisition.
I think he should be comeback player of the year. What do you guys think?
I could.
It's not Aaron Rodgers.
of course.
No, it's not
Sam
Aaron
Darnold.
Rodgers. Sam Darnold probably
Yeah,
gonna get it. honestly.
probably
The-
Sam
I
Darnold.
would say that those two probably have the largest.
J.K.
case right
Dobbins
now.
is a good pick. I would never have thought of that, but you're right. He
No,
has been
J.K.
tearing
is
it up.
yeah. And like I said, it was my favorite offseason acquisition of the entire league. Like when they got him from,
The free agency and the Ravens. Yeah, dude.
I was really happy for him because I love J.K. I
Yeah,
think
he was good at Ohio
yeah.
State. He just keeps getting injured.
Yeah,
and he
that's
seems to
his
be healthy
problem.
this year. Let's keep it that way,
Yeah,
JK.
please.
I'd like to see what you've been doing. Guys, if you are listening or watching right now, drop a comment or drop a comment.
A
That's
like,
it.
subscribe,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
comment,
Oh,
whatever.
I was gonna
Something,
say-
interact with our social
let-
media
let
in
us-
some capacity.
I was gonna say let us know. Jesus. Let us know if you would take Sam Darnold or J.K. Dobbins as
there you
the
go.
as the comeback player of the year. Yeah, like, follow, share, do that stuff too. But we're in the middle
I
of
didn't
a
know,
podcast.
I didn't know
Shut
where you
up.
were going with
I'm
it.
done. I'm done talking to you right now.
goodness.
QJ was actually
The guy
a lot
didn't
of.
know the word comment.
Yeah, I said it, and then I just got stumbled on my words. Anyways, Quentin Johnson was the number one wide receiver in this game. He had 4 receptions for 118 yards and a touchdown. Josh Palmer caught a long touchdown as well. He had 63 yards on 2 catches. And our boy Lad McConkey doing serviceable things.
Serviceable.
Not the greatest day, but decent. If he was a fill-in player for you, he had 5 receptions for 64 yards. Other than that, not a lot going on in this game, guys. Let's catch up with a couple more here. We got a couple barn burners.
Surprisingly good game.
Yeah, did this one
It
go to overtime?
was.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh. Drake May, 15 seconds
Yeah.
of time to throw that ball. How crazy was
I guess
that?
that's really the only part of the game I really watched and overtime.
Yeah,
But
I had Red Zone on, and that's the only thing I think they really showed. Other than I remember Tony Pollard was kind of eaten in this game.
yeah, and we said he was out. They said he was out all week.
And he didn't practice all week. Last second, they ended up putting him in. So hopefully you were paying
Yeah.
attention to the injury report.
I
90
wasn't. I
minutes
was out
before.
on my bench.
Well, that's what you get, Lou.
Yep.
Let's look at some stats here real quickly on this game here. We got Drake May. He had 41 attempts, 29 completions, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Not the greatest day, but he did do a lot on his legs. He had 95 yards on 8 rushes. Completely recovered from that concussion. Ramondre Stevenson, not a lot of production, but he did get a touchdown. I believe he caught a touchdown as
Caught
well.
one, too.
He had 5 receptions for 38 yards and a touchdown, and then also, like I said, that rushing touchdown. But
You should have seen
10 for 16.
You should have seen Carrick talking about Ramondre Stevenson.
Oh, I'm
the
sure.
Same day he was talking about Waddle.
I'm sure.
Carrick's talking about Stevenson.
I bet. Guys, a big player that we told you that you should take a look at and be acquiring for your fantasy football team is Hunter Henry. He's a great tight end option, especially for PPR. 7 catches, 56 yards. That is the kind of usage you want to get out of a tight end. If he's not getting a touchdown, he needs to have at least that kind of numbers. That's 12.6 points PPR.
Yeah, that
I'll
really
take that
hurt.
all day.
That really hurt in the one fantasy league I played against him.
Oh, you played against Hunter Henry?
Someone put him in the flex.
Oh, wow. Risky play.
Paid off for him though.
Other side of the football here, we had the Titans, and the Titans, they had Mason Rudolph. What did you expect? 33 attempts, 20 receptions, or 20 completions rather, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tony Pollard, like I said, he was eaten. He had 28 carries for 128 yards. When it comes to receptions, he had 3 for 26. So, I mean, pretty great day for him for being a guy who didn't practice all week and was looking to be injured.
Yeah.
A guy that is on a stream right now of just touchdowns every week is Nick Westbrook-Akine. Him and Mason Rudolph have some sort of red zone vibe going with
They got
them.
the Wombo Combo.
They got the Wombo. That's what we should call it from now on. They got the Wombo Combo. Other person who got a touchdown in this game was Nick Vanette, who is an ex-Steeler. So maybe that was one of the reasons why he's got some tie-in with him. We were talking about Calvin Ridley last week on the podcast. He did all right. I don't love Calvin
He
Ridley.
was neither a boom nor a doom.
We gave him the boom. You know what boom or doom is?
He was
Yeah.
straight mid.
He was straight mid.
No, yeah, that's
right
definitely
down the
like
middle.
of the road. Yeah, middle of the road stats for sure.
He had 5 receptions, guys, for 73 yards. There was some talks of some more players from the Titans being traded away today. They did not do so. And real quickly, I did forget to mention that the Browns traded Zadarius Smith
They did. I forgot about
to the
that.
Lions.
I saw that.
And the Commanders got Marshawn Lattimore.
Two
Saw that too.
really dangerous pickups for 2 teams
Yeah.
that are actually
Big upgrades.
Yeah.
Big upgrades. We'll talk about some more trades here, guys. It slipped my mind for a second. Don't know
I
how.
mean, it is trade day.
It is
so
trade day, the most important thing about today.
The most important thing about today.
Anyways, next game we're going to talk about here, guys, is the one that I'm really happy ended up the way that it did. Not saying I don't like the
Same.
Dallas Cowboys, but I don't like the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't. I
don't.
cannot stand
just
them.
I
don't-
hate them.
Just don't like him.
Dak is probably the most overrated person.
He's done. Dak's injured. He got injured in this game. Let me
He
cut.
hurt his- he hurt
Here, I'll
his
bring you
hand.
in. I'll bring you up to date, Nate.
Thanks.
How about
appreciate
that? So this was the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Atlanta Falcons. This was in Atlanta. I will start with the Cowboys side of things. Like I said, yeah, Dak, hamstring. He ended up leaving the game. They ended up putting Cooper Rush in. He played most of the second half. He actually is the reason why this game is close, not Dak. Dak was actually doing pretty miserable when I watched him. Let's take a look at some stats here for these quarterbacks and the rest of the team on Dallas. Dak, 18 of 24, which isn't terrible. 133 yards and a touchdown.
Is pretty low for that many.
For that many, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was gonna say that's really not.
It was
I mean, for
Dinkin and Duncan,
right,
dude.
and that's Dak's problem. I feel he's too
much of a distributor and not enough of a playmaker. That's how I feel about him.
He's again the most overrated person in the
I
league
think
right now.
him and Trevor Lawrence are up there in my overrated people.
I forgot about T-Law.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, I might have to retract that statement because I
Trevor Lawrence.
completely forgot.
Trevor Lawrence is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, we think
We're
Trevor's
big Trevor Lawrence haters here.
Yeah.
It's like not even close, dude.
Yeah.
You know why I can't stand him? It's Collinsworth. That's why I can't
Oh,
stand T-Law.
well, yeah, he makes everybody
Yeah.
worse. Cooper Rush, guys, he did not very good, but he did lead a comeback. 13 of 25. He had 115 yards, 1 touchdown. Rico Dowdle. Did I do it?
Dowdle, yeah,
Yes.
you did it right.
I can never say his name right.
Really?
Rico Dowdle, he had 75 yards on 12 carries. When it comes to the passing game, he had 5 catches for 32. That's a pretty serviceable
And
day.
a touchdown.
Oh, yeah, and a touchdown. I apologize. One thing I wanted to mention is that Zeke Elliott got benched and was not allowed to travel with the team for disciplinary action, showing up late to practice. Thought he might be somebody that gets either cut or maybe possibly traded here at the deadline. He did not. Number 1 wide receiver in this game for the Dallas Cowboys was Jake Ferguson, who you and I said was going to be a good option
solid.
to play this
Yeah.
week. So, ding. We were hitting. I think we did
hit.
really good when it
We
comes to
also
our
told someone to
predictions.
play Tolbert.
We
They
did.
asked us like a deep cut. It was like Tolbert and like 2 other people who were like deeper cuts. So we're
Yep.
like, play Tolbert.
And Tolbert ended up with a touchdown, 19 yards. That was on your suggestion from our sleeper section. Another person who did pretty decent. Yeah, hey, whatever. 8 receptions and 47 yards for CD Lamb. Other than that, it's like a mix of small yardage. Like we said, it was a lot of dink and dunk for Dak and then the backup Cooper Rush. On the other side of the football, Kirk Cousins has 11 touchdowns in the last 3 games. He is killing it. 19 of 24, 222
Kirk
yards.
Chains, man. He's
Yeah.
a real deal.
Yeah.
No, he is, man.
He
really
He's
is.
finally really found his stride with the Falcons.
2
and I'm
older
glad.
guys both ripped their Achilles last year. Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins,
Looks way
It's so
better.
Yeah.
it's amazing.
maybe he's a comeback
far.
player of the year.
You know what,
It's not
Oh
a
my
bad
goodness.
bro? There's a couple.
Hold on. At the end of the show here, when we get into the Q&A section, guys, if you're watching live with us on the TikTok, we're
You
we'll
usually
go
give
over
us
that.
the A's. And
We're
you
gonna
ask
have
us
it-
the
we're gonna have
Q's,
a
but
Q
we're
for
gonna have
you.
a Q for you this time.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the stats here on the Falcons. Bijan Robinson, decent day, getting a lot more usage than Tyler Algier, which hasn't been the norm. He had 19 carries, 86 yards. Tyler Algier, though, made the most of it. 6
Yeah.
carries, 18 yards.
You
but he
already
had a
know he's
touchdown.
on my team because I love goal line players.
Yeah. Lou loves goal line players, so you know Tyler Algier is on the
I
team.
started him too in Super League.
Oh, my goodness. How desperate are you?
I was desperate.
that
I
was
had
a very
buys, bad
desperate
buys.
In the passing game, guys, Bijan also had 7 receptions for 59 yards. This is elite usage out of a running back. Ray McLeod had a touchdown. Drake London had a touchdown, which he did the weird upside-down celly. I liked it.
I
It was
did.
cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. Armon Ra, his college teammate, did one too.
Yeah.
It was from some high school.
Yeah, some
It's
high school
cool.
kid did it.
It's cool. I'll give it to him.
So.
I don't know if I mentioned Mooney. Mooney had the best day for the Falcons. He had 5 catches, 88 yards. And then other than that, Kyle Pitts had a bad day.
Kyle Pitts had a horrible day.
Kyle Pitts was probably one of the worst locked-in starting tight ends who didn't show up this week.
Yeah, if he would have done anything else, I may have won.
Possibly. This game here, guys, the next one we're going to talk about, Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. First thing I want to start with before we get into the game here, obviously the Cincinnati Bengals are not giving up on the season. They made a trade this afternoon. They acquired Khalil Herbert. I do also want to mention a kind of more developing news is it looks like Zach Moss might be kind
He's
of
out.
I think he's
might
done
be,
for the year.
He might be done for the year, is he?
He is.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, he
is.
officially
He's
is?
already-
I have a
he's
waiver.
declared
I have
out
a
for the
waiver wire
season.
drop on him for
Okay.
someone else.
Before we went live, guys, I hadn't.
His name rhyme with Halil Herbert.
Khalil Herbert is going to get usage here. He is going to get opportunities in Cincinnati. So I think that if you are looking for a fill-in or if you got an injury at running back or a flex position, take a look at Khalil Herbert now. I really think that he might be somebody who can be a
I'm
Band-Aid.
dropping Zach Moss. So I'm trying to get Khalil Herbert.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
don't know what point I'm at in the waivers, but I'm hoping I can get him. Fingers crossed. I haven't abused my waivers this year, so I have a high hope.
I have.
Yeah, think like early Joe Mixon days. He's,
I
he's
can
gonna
see
give you
that.
a lot of those vibes.
I like Khalil.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the problem that happened for him last year with the Bears was that they brought in Deonta Foreman, and Deonta Foreman just he eats, dude. He's a downhill runner. He's big and heavy, and he just kind of made Khalil lose his job. And then they also have Roschon Johnson, who is a rookie from Texas, and they wanted to use him.
Then they pick
Now
up
they got
Swift.
And
from
now they have
agency.
Swift.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
like,
so.
Taking a look at the actual game here, though, for the Bengals this past week,
Chase Brown is also pretty damn
is
good.
balling.
Like,
So Chase Brown is balling out.
He's
Now,
a difference maker.
Let me tell you, and this is the only thing I'll say negatively about this, is that it was the Raiders, but still.
Yeah,
still, like,
that's true though.
Total stats.
Their defense isn't great against
No, they got
the run
one good
this
guy.
year.
They got two good guys.
Yeah,
They have our old middle linebacker,
Spillane.
and then they have
Crosby.
Max Crosby.
Mhm.
They have a guy named Morig who plays safety who's good in fantasy football, guys. But, that's like it on their defense. Chase Brown, though, 5 catches, 37 yards, a touchdown, 27 carries. I mean, they were blowing them out, so that's why a lot of carries. But 120 yards. Great day for Chase Brown owners. They had to be really happy. Joe Burrow lit it up in this game as well, guys. I had Joe Burrow. He was the reason why I won my fantasy week. He went 27 of 39 for 251 yards and 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. The best guy of the day for the
Is
Bengals.
is Joe
Gesicki.
Cool back? Is Joe Cool back?
Joe
Because-
Cool's back.
Joe Cool's
But
back, but
like-
how
Yeah.
about this?
But
Mike
Mike
Gesicki.
But that's how he is. That's
Yeah.
why I'm saying. You
Doesn't
know,
make any sense.
he loves to rely.
He likes tight
He's a
ends.
smart guy.
Yeah.
That's why.
I like
hate,
Joe Burrow.
I hate the Bengals, but I love Joe Burrow.
Let me ask you a question.
What's up?
Would you, if you were taking a quarterback for your ultimate team ever, would you take Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow?
Oh, I would take Joe Burrow.
Fantasy wise, you still take Joe Burrow?
Yeah, I would want.
Thank you.
I'm a
All
big-
right.
I get it though.
Yeah.
I get it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Jalen can still give you that second dimension of the ground game, but
No.
but just look at what Joe Burrow just did.
Exactly.
I know, I saw
And-
it.
It's
and
2
he
5
had-
touchdown games. 2 of them.
Right, and he has more and better weapons.
He
right
has
now.
better weapons. He has more weapons. He has a better arm, but I just like the intangibles.
no,
of,
I get it.
Jalen Hurts' legs.
I
And the tush push, it may be a cheap play. He hates the tush push, but you know what? Points and points in fantasy.
get it
don't
because
care.
I'm a super Lamar lover, so I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah,
I
I feel
understand the utility and the value of having a player like that, but
I'm gonna be
there's
happy the
something
rest
about-
of this podcast. You just made the rest of this podcast for me. I don't know if you've been watching anybody live right now, but the smile has not left my face.
Yeah, no.
Ha 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 ha.
seriously,
Luke.
I
He
would,
is,
and
bro.
I do. I love Jalen Hurts too, but
You
I
gotta
would
go,
have-
Joe. If you want a quarterback,
Yeah.
that's what a quarterback should be looking like.
It's funny because I think a lot of the criticisms that Lamar gets should be levied on Jalen.
Yeah. So
I mean, I agree with
Thank you, because he's less productive.
He very much so.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Guys, let's get back onto the stats
yeah,
for this
good
game.
call.
Apparently, I had my hat on too low. I'm getting yelled at by producer Paul.
He did last podcast too, producer Paul.
Guys, I gotta.
all right, let's get.
I gotta,
move
I gotta
on.
grow
Let's get
hair,
one.
get better hats.
Okay.
Jamar Chase, guys, he ended up having a not so great day. 7 catches for 43 yards. I mean, mostly because Mike Gesicki was eating. He had 5 catches for 102 touchdowns. If you played Mike Gesicki this week, you are the big winner. Drew Sample, their backup tight end, he had a touchdown. They actually have a third tight end who's a rookie, Eric All Jr. He blew his ACL in this game. He will be out for the rest of the season. Andrew Iova, I think it's Iova.
Sivas?
Iova-
Andre
no,
Iovas?
I think it's
I don't know.
No, it's Yossi Vosh. Yossi
Yossi
Vosh.
Vosh.
It's
Yossi
Yossi
Vosh.
Vosh is how you say it.
Yeah, it's
I knew it
Yossi
would
Vosh.
come to me. He had 1 catch for a touchdown, too, guys. He's not a bad option in fantasy football. I'm not going to lie to you. He's been getting
You
used
skipped
a lot.
over the Raiders.
No,
Oh,
we
the
talked about
Raiders.
We talked about the
We
Raiders.
yeah, I'll hit their stats real quick, but it's
For what?
because it's going to be
Why?
quick. That's why.
Yeah, we'll quit. We gotta
Watch
go
this.
through 'em.
They ended up putting Desmond Ritter in, guys. I think that if you were in a 2-quarterback system and need a quarterback for the rest of the year and have Gardner Minshew, I would drop Garner. I would go with Desmond Ritter. He's a more athletic player. He went 11 of 16 for 74 yards and a touchdown. Only played the end half of the game. Gardner Minshew, 10 for 17, 124 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but he did have fumbles.
And hope you don't have to actually
Zamir
pick up
White?
Desmond Ritter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you don't have to have Desmond Ritter either. Zamir White, he had 6 rushes for 10 yards and a touchdown. But, I mean, guys, the only person on this team, the only 2 people on this team who are worth talking about, to be completely honest with you, are Jacoby Myers, who had 8 receptions for 105 yards, and Brock Bowers, who had 5 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. And I will say,
It's a garbage tutty, but I'll take the garbage tutty.
yeah, our super fan Seth really wanted Jacoby Myers. He reached out to us today and was really, really hurt when we got Williams instead of Jacoby Myers.
Oh man.
Yeah, he was like, "Man, I want to puke right now."
I didn't even know
have
Myers
Jacoby
was on the
Myers.
table.
I would have loved Jacoby.
I would have
Myers.
rather had him. Yeah.
Next game we're gonna talk about here, guys. Once again,
the over hit, but we couldn't have been more wrong about the other.
Yeah.
part.
so for new viewers and for Nate here, something that I learned from some very good sports gamblers is that anytime an NFL game has a spread of 9.5, you should always bet the over in this game. The game will always go over. So if it's like it says over 51, take over 51. So in that kind of situation, and once again. It went over. The over was like in the 40s.
It was
and
like 46 or 44. Or
and it
something
hit
like that, yeah.
51. Let's take a look at the stats for the Broncos first here, guys. Bo Nix caught a touchdown from Cortland Sutton. He also had 19 completions on 33 attempts. He had 223 yards. He did have an interception. Running backs, we talked about this last week, me and Ben a little bit more in depthly. Javonte Williams is getting more carries than all the other running backs, but they are
They all
not
kinda
productive.
suck.
It's not productive. He's not doing anything with these carries.
Stay away from them.
Yeah, stay away from him. Keep him on the bench if you absolutely need him when injuries arise, but you don't want to be playing Javonte Williams. Wide receivers, they had Cortland Sutton go off again. He had a good week last week as well, but other than that, it was a pretty crappy day for the Broncos. Ravens defense really showed up. They did make a trade today. They traded for Tre'Davious White, the ex Bills cornerback.
Yeah.
He was on. Who was he even on? What team was he on?
He was on the Rams.
He was on the
on the
Rams.
Rams.
Thank you. He's older now. I don't think he's going to be the best in coverage. If he was put on, say, a Calvin Austin, smell you later. There's no way he's keeping up with someone like that. Let's take a look at the Ravens side of things. Nate has already mentioned he's a huge fan of the Lamar Jackson quarterback room or quarterback experience. He was 16 of 19. He had 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He only ran 3 times for 4 yards, which is very irregular.
Yeah, that's not typical of Lamar.
King Henry is on a streak. He has a touchdown in every game this season. He's killing it.
That's exactly why Lamar was just sitting back.
That's very true. He doesn't have to, and he's not going to get injured that way. That's why Derek was brought there, I think.
I agree,
Yeah.
and that was the
It worked.
second. That was my second scariest pick of the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Them getting Derrick Henry. I kind of felt like they would show a little bit more. This showing I thought would be their regular season showing, but. You know, the Ravens, they have a propensity for their defense to go up and down a lot.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
the defense has been a little bit more irregular in how they've been performing, but in this game they did really well. When we made our picks, I took the Ravens, even though I know that the Broncos defense is very good. They took the. Did you take the Broncos?
I did.
Yeah, I
And
did
you
too.
did as well. I thought so. I thought so.
I did.
Yeah,
I bet Broncos money line.
Sometimes, and I know it's weird, but sometimes y'all have to look at coaches' records against rookie quarterbacks.
That is
Harbaugh,
true.
Harbaugh,
That might be a-
Harbaugh doesn't lose to rookie quarterbacks a
For
lot.
betting, that might be a key note, honestly.
It really is.
I would take
Harbaugh
that
does
keyed up.
not lose to rookie
He
quarterbacks
beat
a lot.
Jaden Daniels as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at some stats here, they did add Deontay Johnson. You don't see him on the stat sheet. He didn't really do anything for them. But that's okay because Zay Flowers had 5 catches, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zay, week over week, has been doing really good.
Especially with that ankle, like, and it's still lingering too. He's different. I like Zay.
I like Zay.
I do too.
I think he's extremely shifty, and I like that in a wide receiver. I like a guy like when Antonio was younger, he would just zigzag all over the field and get free. I love that stuff. Patrick Ricard, their fullback, I want to mention it. He caught a touchdown.
Feed the big fella.
Feed
got
the big
to.
fella.
Feed the big fella.
Gotta feed the big
You know,
fella.
he's blocking for- he's blocking for
I'm
Derrick
like you
Henry.
too. Exactly.
You know?
I love when they get it. You know, Mike Allstott was one of my favorite
Oh,
players
yeah.
back
Oh,
in the
yeah,
day, man.
A-Train.
Absolutely.
You
All
know,
day.
like,
All day.
straight
I
up,
love
straight
Mike.
up.
I love
Straight up.
Mike.
That
Hey
man
guys,
was a
let's take a look
shotgun
at this
out the
next
backfield.
one. This is the one I was wrong on, and these guys were right on. I took the Bears. I thought the Bears were going to win this game. I thought that the defense for the Arizona Cardinals was not going to be really it. The Bears ended up losing by 20 in this game.
The exact opposite thing happened.
I'm not a Caleb Williams believer.
I
So,
know.
like,
I'm
it's
not.
every week. It's different. It's like
Because
one week
they
he's
do
decent.
not have an offensive line.
Well, I did want to mention their first round pick from last year, who is their starting right tackle, who's very good out of Tennessee. His name escapes me at the second, but he is out for the season, and this was his first game not being in. So I think that might have played into it just a tiny bit, because if we're also going to critique Caleb Williams, we also have to critique DeAndre Swift. And if we see that both are on a downhill slide, that probably because their offensive line is pretty dinged up, guys. Caleb Williams had 22 completions on 41 attempts. Not very good. No touchdowns, no interceptions. I believe he had a fumble, but I could be wrong. But something in my mind tells me he did. DeAndre Swift, like I just said, 16 carries for 51 yards. Not as good as he has been in the past couple weeks. He's been killer in fantasy football. He also had 6 catches for 31 yards. So not terrible.
Yep. And I mentioned this on Friday. It's hard, or Saturday. It's hard to play any of their receivers
'Cause you don't know
because
which one's
this
gonna go
week
off.
this
You
week
never
it
know
was
who it is.
Odunze,
Yeah.
and next
There's
week
too
it'll be
many.
DJ Moore,
Yep.
and
Yeah,
like
there's
next
too
week it'll be
many. It'll be
Keenan
Keenan,
Allen,
yeah.
or then and then it'll be randomly the tight end, Komet.
Yeah,
So-
you're absolutely right, and you were right in that effect. I wouldn't have picked Odunze to be the one who went off, but he was. He had 5 receptions, 104 yards. DJ Moore, I did want to quickly mention this. He had 4 receptions for 33 yards. He gave up in the middle of a play.
Yeah.
He gave up in the middle of a play, and actually the play
Not a
was
good look.
still going on, and
Yeah.
he literally was already about to be sitting on the bench.
I don't
It's
know.
like,
I
oh,
don't-
man,
I
you're
don't
on my
know what
fantasy
it
bench.
is.
I mean, he was
These
was
younger
open.
players, especially the wide receiver. I get
Drama.
that, but
Yeah.
like
You can't be that much.
Can't,
Yeah,
you can't be that petty.
You know,
We've all
you
been
know-
on teams, and you know you got to be
exactly,
a team player.
especially as a wide receiver. But being from Pittsburgh too, like we had Hines. Like you can't do stuff like
No,
that,
break your back,
Yeah.
bro.
bro. You can't do stuff
100%.
like that.
Taking a look at the Cardinals side of things, guys, it was a little bit spread around. Kyler Murray had an okay day, not used a lot in the passing game. He had only 20 attempts, 13 of them were completions. He had 154 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. James Conner, very good usage, 18 carries, 107 yards, but no touchdowns on the ground. Amari Diamarcado, I may have
That's something
butchered
you
that.
got. I
No,
think
that
you
was
got it right.
100% right.
Okay, cool. He had a long run for a touchdown. So he had 59 yards and a touchdown on only 4 carries, though. And then Trey Benson, the rookie, he also started to get a lot more usage. It's just because they were blowing him out. But he had 8 carries. He had 37 yards. He had a touchdown. Trey McBride at the beginning of the game also ran a 2-yard touchdown in, which is
Yeah, I saw that.
the tight end getting a touchdown is
Very cool.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
When we're looking at
Especially
rushing
rushing
touchdown.
touchdown.
Rushing.
That's
or
pretty
rushing,
wild.
that's what I
Yeah,
meant. That's what I
rushing.
meant. Rushing. When we were taking a look at the wide receivers, though, guys, like I said, Kyler Murray, not a lot of yards, no touchdowns. So basically, the whole way down the line, the only person that you would wanted to have played is Trey McBride.
Yeah.
He had that rushing touchdown. He only had 35 yards. Nobody had more than 3 completions.
Nobody had more than 35 yards.
Yeah, no, yeah. So yeah, it
That's
wasn't
crazy.
really the greatest day for anybody who catches the ball on the Cardinals, but as a team, they did great.
Yep. Shout out to the Pitt alum James Conner. Love
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
No, he follows me on Twitter actually.
No way.
Yeah, he does.
Wow.
Seriously, yeah. I love him
yeah.
to death, man. Love Jason.
James Conner, follow
Yeah.
us on
Yeah.
Twitter. What the
Yeah.
heck, man? Next game I want to talk about. This game was at one point in time like 21-0, and then all of a sudden Jacksonville came back.
Yeah.
This was the Jags taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. Your boy had a good day.
He had a good day.
He did have a good day. He was 18 of 24. This is Jalen Hurts, of course. He was 18 of 24 for 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran 13 times for 67 yards and a touchdown, which was not a tush push. I already see him looking at me out of
No,
the
it
corner of my
wasn't a
eye.
tush push.
It
I
was
know.
not a tush push, and I knew he was going to scream that out, so I made sure to mention it.
It's
it was
funny.
not a tush
It's funny
push.
that you care so much about that, and I know it's only because of fantasy. If it wasn't for fantasy,
Yes.
I'm sure that
Yeah.
that would not bother you nearly
Yeah,
as much.
that, and I'm like, come on, dog.
Because
why do you have
seriously-
you have a fullback for a reason? Like,
True,
hand it off a
but-
fullback.
Yeah, but why not just hand
That's
it
his
off?
job. You're taking the spotlight of this man away.
no.
Like,
As a fullback lover, I agree.
You know what I
as
mean?
a fullback
Like-
lover, I do agree. But at the same time, like, it's Jalen Hurts. You're making how much money? That fullback ain't making that much money, boy. You better get in that end zone.
yeah, I feel you. Another
can
thing
do
for
it.
me, if I was an Eagles fan, is I always get scared when my quarterback's running the ball in piles.
Jalen
Roll-
Hurts
getting
is
rolled up
not-
on and stuff.
But Jalen Hurts is not the typical, right?
Yeah, no, he isn't.
He's built. He's solid.
Yeah,
he's really solid.
He is. No, yeah, he can bench or squat like a bajillion pounds. I've seen videos of it, which is nuts.
It is crazy. Him and
Another
Saquon are
dude.
like,
Yeah, I was just gonna say another dude who can squat like crazy is Saquon Barkley. This dude had the NFL Player of the Year this week.
year? I think decade. It has to be decade.
It's
I don't
up
know.
there.
I don't
Up
know if
there.
I've seen
It's up
anything like
there.
that.
The Garrett Wilson
It's-
catch last week, I think it's like
yeah,
catch
the
of
Garrett
year,
Wilson.
play of the year maybe,
Listen.
but this is up there. This is a
Listen.
close contender.
Saquon Barkley literally played Madden in real life.
That's true.
On
That's true.
he
Before-
juked a guy. Slow. It wasn't even fast. He juked the guy to set up jumping
Yeah.
over someone backwards.
A hurdle.
Yeah.
It was
Juke
pretty
half
insane.
It was
Spin
a
hurdle.
it was a pure hurdle.
It was a good. It was clean looking too, which is what we were talking about before the show. Is how clean it looked. It literally did look like a video game move.
It was not.
Um,
it was insane.
Saquon had 27 carries, 159 yards, and a touchdown. He also had 3 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown. Best wide receiver of the day was your boy,
boy.
Devonta.
Yeah.
Devonta
AJ
Smith.
Brown got hurt.
I'll
yeah,
be
AJ
honest
Brown
though,
got hurt.
he saved his day in the fourth quarter.
with
He
with
was
a
doing
amazing
It was
touchdown.
a great catch.
It was
yeah.
an amazing touchdown. Taking a look real quick at the Jaguars side of things here, guys. Well, looks like we're running over on our time a little bit today, but that's all right. We'll try to clean it up in the end and be quick here for you. Our biggest imposter ever, Trevor Lawrence. He did terrible. He was a little bit over 50%, 16 of 31. He had 169 yards, and he had 2 interceptions. No touchdowns. None.
Yeah.
Not one.
2 rushing.
Two rushing.
Yeah, he had 2 rushing touchdowns from like the
2.
1 yard line.
Yeah, but like
But still, I don't know. He wasn't a great fantasy play in my opinion. I wouldn't want him on my team. The number 1 rusher for the Jags was Travis Etienne in his first game back. However, he only had 24 yards.
Yeah.
Tank Bigsby, who's been a big flyer for everyone, and they've been playing him a lot in their flex ever since Etienne has been hurt. He had 8 carries, more than Etienne. However, he only had 22 yards, which wasn't very good. Evan Ingram was the number 1 wide receiver for the team, even though he's a tight end. He had 5 receptions, 45 yards. And Parker Washington, I guess we'll mention. He had 3 catches for 41.
No one had more than 45 yards.
The only thing that was really great on the Jaguar side of thing was their defense. They were getting turnovers for touchdowns.
Yeah.
The touchdown that they did have returned was insane. Nobody could tackle that guy. I don't know what the heck was going on. Next game we're going to cover here. This one was a little bit better. I called this one. I said it was going to be the Rams with the comeback wide receivers. I don't remember who
I
you
said
guys
Seahawks.
took. Did you take the
I
Seahawks?
He took
the
Rams.
Oh, yes, right. You're a
I
Rams.
I'm a Rams guy. I
You're a
love the
Rams guy,
He
so
is
you
a
did
Rams.
take
I love
the
the
Rams.
Rams too. I'm a big Rams guy.
I think that Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, right. I think that I think Matt Stafford, guys, is somebody that if you need a quarterback moving forward, whether it was an injury with Dak or maybe a bye week, I think Matt Stafford's a great pickup. He's only owned in 60% of leagues. I checked on that before we went live here today. He was 25 of 44, 298 yards and 2 touchdowns with 1 interception. That's pretty good, in my opinion.
Stop sleeping on Matt, man.
Yeah,
People gotta stop sleeping on him.
even in
Just
his old age, he's still good.
Yeah, he has it.
He's
and
still good.
Look at the weapons that he has around him.
Exactly. His
you
weapons
can't deny
are insane.
Cooper Kupp, and you can't deny Puka.
Nope. In this game, though, there was a little bit of controversy. Puka did punch somebody. He got ejected, so he ended the day with 1 catch for 11 yards. Cooper Kupp had a great day. No touchdowns. However, he had 11 receptions for 104 yards. So PPR, you're doing fine there.
Oh, yeah.
Demarcus Robinson, come back
He
again.
always goes off when like Puka is down or Cup is down.
Yeah, he fills in great at wide receiver 2, but he is not a wide receiver 1 and doesn't get enough looks at wide receiver 3. Guys, he had 94 yards and 6 receptions for 2 touchdowns. The player of the game who was a disappointment was Kyron Williams. He only had 69 yards, but on 22 carries, that is not
very
good production.
No touchdowns.
Especially as your first round pick, and I know that he was your first round pick. Not very great.
No, you don't want to see that.
Not at all.
First, no.
Other side of things, Geno Smith continues to degrade as the
he
season.
balled out yard-wise.
Yard-wise, he may have balled out. However, he did
Yeah.
have 3 interceptions and is the reason why they lost this game.
It was like Jameis Winston here.
Yeah.
I was
363.
I was just
3
about
and 3.
to say he's like the SpongeBob meme where he's cross-eyed looking at both
Wanna
sides
see
of
me
the
do it
ball.
again?
Like you never know what you're going to get
Yeah.
with Geno.
You really don't.
100%. Geno in this game had 34 attempts, 21 completions. He had 363 yards, 3 touchdowns. So that's balling. But yes, 3 interceptions as well. Kenneth Walker, K9, he had 25 carries for 83 yards. Charbonnet, we told you, not going to even mention it. He's nobody. Jackson Smith, the Jigba, 8.
Yeah.
He was number 1 wide receiver of the weekend, guys. 7 receptions, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's filling in great for DK when he was out. Lockett also had a touchdown, 63 yards on 3 receptions. Taking a look at the
They're
Rams,
saying
we
he's wide
already
receiver
did.
1 now in Seattle.
You think so?
No, they're saying it. Like it's been said.
Oh, okay. So then DK's number 2 and Lockett's number 3?
Yeah.
That's a weird look,
I
but I
wonder-
guess whatever.
Well, no,
It
I
doesn't
guess
really
I
matter,
guess
it's
that
just
should
numbers.
work out because you would really want DK
To be
in
on
that-
the
in
number
that
2
slot,
guy.
Yeah, because he's too fast for any of them linebackers, and
Yeah.
he's just as strong as most of them. So
True.
it's a big miss. I mean, he's literally a wide receiver tight end.
Yeah,
Like-
it is a huge mismatch.
Next game we're going to talk about here is the next rivalry game of the week. This was the Detroit Lions going
Way sleepier than I expected.
a little bit,
A little
going
bit.
up to the Packers to take on, or going up to Green Bay to take on the Packers. In this game, Jared Goff, he was pretty good. He had a lot more yards than he did last game, and he only had 145.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. We did mention that as good as Jared Goff is, guys, we don't think he's really that great in fantasy football. They have too many weapons. They do too much running. They do too many trick plays for you to really trust Jared Goff as a quarterback 1. Like I said, 145, 1 touchdown, very good accuracy again with 18 of 22. David Montgomery, he had an okay day, 17 carries. He had 73 yards. No touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs had a touchdown again. 11 carries, 65 yards, and that 1 touchdown on the ground. Additionally, he had a catch for 11 yards, and then Montgomery had 3 catches for 23. Amon-Ra stays on the streak. He has a
I'll tell
touchdown
you.
again. 7 receptions and 56 yards. Sam Laporta, really bad day. 2 receptions, 28 yards.
He always gets that, like 50 in a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's like his floor.
Yeah,
He always gets it.
But Amon-Ra always gets it. Looks like we only got 2 games left to cover here, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the bye week, guys. I guess we do have to be kind of quick so we can get to
We
our
gotta be
Q&A,
quick,
which
yeah.
is scheduled.
We gotta be
Oh,
quick.
we actually have a schedule.
Yeah, well, kind of, yeah.
I
Yeah,
guess
you're
so.
ruining it.
No, that was probably my fault.
No, you're
no.
totally fine, but these games aren't that much to talk about. The first one is going to be the Colts. They went up to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. This was a Sunday night football game.
And they lost.
They lost.
They're just not a good team.
They're not a good team. They
No.
don't have a good. I don't think that Steichen is better than an offensive coordinator. He's not a head coach. Joe
Nope.
Flacco did not look any better than Anthony Richardson did. Jonathan Taylor did not look good in this game.
I mean, they did play the Vikings, who have decent
The
defense.
Vikings do have a
but
good defense, but still no touchdowns. Come on.
Agreed.
No touchdowns? No, thank you. The best wide receiver in this game was Josh Downs, who was a flyer for us for last week. We were trying to tell you guys, make sure you take a look for him. He had 6 receptions for 60 yards. Again, no touchdowns in this game, so or no touchdowns for the Colts. So
How'd they get 13?
they had a interception return for a touchdown.
Okay.
Or a fumble.
Defensive.
One of the two.
I gotcha.
It was an interception. Sam Darnold, on the other side of things, he was okay. Comeback player of the year considerations. He was 28 of 34, 290 yards. He had 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Aaron Jones had a not so great day.
64 yards.
Not so great, though. He had 21 carries to get that 64 yards, so that isn't the greatest. He had 4 receptions for 18 yards. You've seen a lot better numbers out of Aaron Jones, so unfortunately today just wasn't one of them. Addison had a touchdown. I played him as my flex. He ended up helping me win my matchup. Another person who had a touchdown was Josh Oliver, the backup tight end.
Yeah.
Hawkinson was back for his first game. Little bit of usage, but it's good to see him getting on the field.
Yeah.
3
Really
receptions.
opened it up for Jefferson, though. I
It-
mean, he didn't get a touchdown.
That
but
is true.
Jefferson 8.
With TJ being back, this is Jefferson's numbers here, guys. He had 7 receptions for 137 yards, and he looked every bit of elite in this game. Other than that,
Because he is.
there wasn't a lot going on.
I hope that one day GP can get to that level.
Me too.
I see a lot of
It's
GP.
there.
Yeah,
The talent is there.
I agree. I see a
Me too.
lot of Justin Jefferson and GP. I just hope that he can maximize on it because that man is different.
He is different. He's the number one when it comes to contested catches. Last game I want to talk about here, which was a thriller. I think this was actually one of the more entertaining games of the week. Maybe been the most entertaining game of the week. This was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading up to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. They took this the whole way to overtime. Baker Mayfield, minutes left in the game. He goes down, strikes, gets the touchdown to tie the game up 24-24. I don't know if you guys watched this live, but they showed the coin toss. Baker Mayfield calls for tails, and it hits heads, and you see his face go. Live on television. He had already known he had made the mistake. You don't give Patrick Mahomes the ball first because you're not getting a chance.
Yeah.
In this game, Baker did do well. You would think that he would have a fall off with all of his wide receivers being injured, but Baker Mayfield is him, and officially the
Baker
top,
is the guy.
Baker's the
Stop
guy.
sleeping on. Listen, man.
He's top 3 for us for the rest of the
great.
season. We love him. We think that Baker is
I agree.
really,
I
really
agree.
good.
I actually agree with that.
And here's why, guys. He was 23 of 31 against a really good Kansas City Chiefs defense. He had 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did not turn the ball over. He also ran for 4 times for 20 yards. There was a lot of moments where it looked like he might even run in for a touchdown, but I think he was trying to be a little more conservative. When it comes to the running backs, there's been a lot of running backs used in this backfield for the Buccaneers. Bucky had the most rushes, but he only had 24 yards. He had 7 rushes for 24. Rashid White had a touchdown off the left side. He had 3 carries, though, for 19, so not a lot of production in the rushing aspect of things. But Bucky did have 3 catches for 10, and then Rashad White had 3 catches for 16. These aren't great numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Sterling Shepard, 4
yeah.
for 48.
Rashad White had the touchdown, which is the only reason why he was any bit decent. The main player on the Buccaneers was Cade Otton.
Cade Otton,
Cade Otton
yeah.
went off. He had 8 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown.
Second week in a row.
He is their number 1 wide receiver until any of those guys come back. Mike Evans and obviously Godwin not coming back. But until Mike Evans comes back, look for Cade Otton to be probably tight end 1, 2, or 3 every single week. He's going to be getting all the looks.
And this is Patrick Mahomes' best game of the year.
Yeah, I was just going to mention this is Patrick Mahomes' best game of the year, guys. He had 44 attempts because he actually had to try. The rest weren't giving him everything, and he had 34 completions. He had 291 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Kareem Hunt, another let him eat day.
Yeah.
27 carries, 106 yards. He had the game-winning touchdown to walk it off. When it comes to receivers, what a day. Travis Kelce had 100 yards on 14 receptions. That's huge. It's his best game of the season, and he didn't even have a touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins, best game so far as a Chief. He had his first touchdown as a Chief. Then he got his second touchdown as a Chief. He had 86 yards.
Probably his best game all season, regardless.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, easily.
100%. He had 86 yards, 8 receptions, guys. The other person who caught a touchdown was Samaje P. Ryan. I do not suggest you pick him up or even look his way.
Pacheco's coming back soon.
Yeah.
couple
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah,
Couple
Pacheco's
weeks.
got a couple weeks left on it. I think he's going to be back for fantasy football playoffs, guys, but Kareem Hunt is around for now. Other things I wanted to cover real quickly was the 49ers. The 49ers will be getting CMC back this week, it's looking like. It's like a 90% chance. Do not drop Mason yet, though, guys. I still think that CMC might not be 100%. Like he might play and then.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I'm
agree.
with you
I-
on that.
I
I'm with you on
wouldn't-
that.
I wouldn't
yeah, I
drop him.
wouldn't expect him to see a lot of action.
No,
He'll
they gotta
play,
they gotta
yeah.
be careful.
Yeah.
Tendonitis in the Achilles is not a great injury to have. The other
Especially not
team,
for your premier running back.
yeah,
It's
not
a-
for your number one featured person.
Yeah.
The other team I wanted to talk about because it's our team and they were on bye week as well was the Pittsburgh Steelers. They made 2 trades today. One was Mike Williams. He isn't my favorite. Everyone else seems kind of okay with it, and I he is okay. It's not the best.
Yeah, I would
don't
have liked
love it.
someone else.
I would
but,
have
you
liked
know,
someone else, but I'll
Just
you
live
a
get
with
what
it.
you
question
get.
though. Just like Van Jefferson.
He is better than Van Jefferson, but I just don't know how much better than Van Jefferson he is.
I would say significantly better than Van Jefferson.
3 years ago, yes.
But he's still averaging almost 10 yards a catch. And not just that, it's utility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before he was number one. Now he doesn't have to be number one. Even because before they had.
Well, when he was on the Chargers.
But even when he was on the Jets, he was number
3.
one before. No, he was
He was
sti-
2. And he ended
after
Yeah.
Da
but
got there.
just usage wise, he was
Well,
he was
yeah,
like
but-
he was 3rd behind Lazard.
Yeah, but that's because
Adam-
he's looked at as number one, right? Like he was still their best wide receiver.
Well, no, Garrett Wilson.
No, Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson's fire, bro.
Yeah,
What?
dude.
You kidding? I
forgetting
love
about
Garrett
Garrett-
Wilson.
I
I'm
W?
not saying that I don't like him, but if you really put them up,
If you put them up,
if you put them on the line, if you put them on the line for 10 plays, who are you taking?
Garrett Wilson
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh,
Garrett
every
Wilson.
day.
I actually probably also take Garrett.
every
Wilson.
day.
Wow.
I don't know. But
I
it's
mean,
all
I,
right.
No,
I
I'm
hope,
not-
I
I'm
hope
not-
Mike Williams plays to your expectations, man, because we're going to the Super Bowl
Yeah.
this year.
I think that Mike. I'll say
I could
say
dig
this.
that.
I think that Mike Williams will do well because of Russell Wilson and the moon ball. There is one other thing I wanted to cover here. Going into next week, we did want to talk about our Thursday night football game, and I have my bet for you. Real quickly, let me go over that, and then guys, if you're watching here, we're going to be going into our Q&A next. So just give us a couple seconds on that. So the game for Thursday here is a rivalry game, AFC North. It's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. They will be going to Baltimore. In this game, I have a bet for you here for this week, my 750 bet of the week. It's going to be the Bengals +3. So they will lose by maybe a field goal. Is it at max is what I'm giving them. I'm giving Derrick Henry a touchdown since he's had a touchdown every game this season. And then also I'm taking Zay Flowers over 57 yards receiving. That's my bet for the week. That'll give you a +700. That's something that you can put a little bet on, and then hopefully have some money for some bigger bets for Sunday here that we'll have some coverage for you on Saturday. Real quickly, I did want to ask everybody in closing, who do you think is going to win this game? Nate, I will start with you, Bengals or Ravens?
I think the Ravens have too much momentum right now.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with
Agreed.
the Ravens. I think we're all going with the
We're all
Ravens
gonna say
on that
Ravens
one.
here.
Full agreement.
Well, so what I want to go from here, guys, I want to just thank everyone if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify. We are going to be moving forward to our Q&A section. So if you are watching us live, make sure just stick around for 1 second here. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure you're subscribing on YouTube and following us on Spotify. And then from this point on, we'll give it to producer Paul
Yeah,
to
do a
switch us
Q&A.
on over.